We're at the historic Longhorn Ballroom.
These photographs on the Sex Pistols show on January 10th, 1978. You can see here how the crowd is like getting on the stage. My name is Jeffrey Lyles. I'm the artistic director for Kessler Presents, a production company here in Dallas that owns the Longhorn Ballroom.
Sex Pistols came to Dallas was just such a thing of legend, you know, and in every single thing you read or saw about punk rock, and that was part of the story, you know. And of course the iconic sign where Merle's on one night, and just how the two things were so out of place together. My name is Matt Hillier. I'm in the band 1100 Springs. I sing and play guitar. The history of this room means a lot.
When I came to see the Sex Pistols in 1978, I'd never been to the Longhorn Ballroom. I didn't know what it was. And in my mind, I thought it was going to be like this big ballroom with like a chandelier, or like they had ballroom dancing and stuff. And I couldn't figure out why they were doing a show at a place like that. Seeing Merle Haggard's name on the marquee, you know, it was kind of like, are you kidding? The Sex Pistols are playing the same place as Merle Haggard? And all I knew about Merle Haggard is he was a guy that I'd seen on Hee Haw. I couldn't imagine why the Sex Pistols were playing in this place, and we got there and realized it was a country and western place, you know, which was a complete surprise. You know, we really didn't know what to expect. What happened was when the Sex Pistols did their first American tour, their manager, Malcolm McLaren, put this English punk rock band into venues where there would be some kind of conflict dynamic there, and he was purposely trying to create a spectacle in each city.
Of course, country music in Texas is king. But the first kind of music when I picked up a guitar that I wanted to play was punk rock music. I can relate to it a whole bunch. You need a voice for the people who feel like they're not being heard. That's what this represents.
The event that we're having this weekend is Punks and Pokes. It's one punk rock band, the Bowling for Soup, and then a country and western band, 1100 Springs.
Things like that don't happen anymore.
And I've been most excited about Bowling for Soup. We have such a long history with Bowling for Soup. When I had a rock and roll band, we did so many shows together because I love those guys.
I wouldn't change a thing.
The idea is to celebrate that cross-pollination of different music styles.
What is unique about the photos in the Punks and Pokes exhibit?
Bob Gruen's photographs captured a moment in time. It shows how this creative culture clash happened in real time in the 70s. I don't know that we'll ever see something like that again, to tell you the truth. So Matt, these photographs were taken by Bob Gruen. Bob Gruen was a legendary photographer in the 70s whose work appeared in Rolling Stone. And he was on the road traveling around with the band and kind of trying to document their whole tour. Classic rock was kind of fading out, and disco music was happening, but then this other thing came along. That was this spectacle. Kids with torn clothes, you know, leather pants and spiked hair and safety pins in their clothes and all that. It's important to know where the name Sex Pistols came from. The Sex Pistols don't have anything to do with sex or guns. There was a boutique, a fashion boutique in London called Sex, and Malcolm McLaren was one of the people who ran it. And the Sex Pistols band was an extension of that clothing store. It was a fashion statement. And you know, the idea was to bring that fashion culture to America. And it was, in a way, it was a lot of ways, it was kind of taking down haute couture and more high-end fashion stuff. It was the direct antithesis of that. And that was the fashion statement in and of itself.
These are all from the Longhorn.
Yes, they're all from the Longhorn. Now that this much time has passed, and now that punk rock has changed, culture has changed, venues have changed, the one thing that has stayed the same is the Longhorn Ballroom. So you have these photographs from the Longhorn Ballroom from that era that the public had never seen before. And now, within the context of this building being reopened and punk rock having a more of a historical significance, that's why we're lucky to have the photographs that he had never shown anybody. Have you heard about the Sex Pistols release of the live recording of this night?
No. They actually have a live recording of this?
They did. They pressed it up on vinyl. Actually, not just this show. There's 2 or 3 other shows from this tour. It's interesting, though, that was released right when we were going to do this show.
Wow.
It's like serendipity, you know.
That's crazy.
Dreaming about the way things used to be.
I always want to try to do something that gives back to the community when possible. And that was another really big selling point on the show. It's just, okay, Not only is it going to be a whole bunch of good time, this is going to benefit Cafe Momentum and the Music Health Alliance and Southern Gateway Park. We quit the band in 2021. No, but we hadn't done a show since then, and I don't think we ever said we would never do it again, and I'm certainly not saying we're planning on doing it after this. But one thing I always thought was it had to be the right show at the right venue. It had to sort of represent what we thought would be something that was worthwhile and coming out and doing it one more time. It's just a no-brainer to me. Some people, when I told them that we were going to be doing a show with BFS, that they kind of scratched their heads. To me, I was like, it makes all the sense in the world, you know? We're going to have a ball.
What I'm trying to do is just create a memory or something that people will love forever.